So this is quite a long written piece, and it's a response to the last couple of weeks basically, and who tried to suppress this. So I'm going to try and not use as much bad language as I can, basically. Right. I've been informed I'm potentially taking on Sinn Féin with my proceedings with this situation. I've been informed I'm potentially taking on Sinn Féin with proceeding with my situation. If speaking the truth and talking about corruption, cronyism and intimidation makes me a target of a portion of Sinn Féin, well, so be it. As my last video said, it was a few members of Sinn Féin who dragged the party into this mess. Why should I shoulder the blame because I dare stand my ground and speak the truth? Now the cold threatening hand of oppression and suppression is in full action, reaching new levels. We were all aware, and we are all aware, of the efforts to shut down what I have to say. I've genuinely tried to keep Sinn Féin as a party out of this. It's Mr Cunnan who dragged Sinn Féin into this. Sinn Féin could have made some kind of effort to create distance from this mess and let Mr Cunnan deal with what is ultimately his own egg on his own fucking face. Sorry, I just used bad language. Unfortunately, it would appear they have assisted and supported him, and he's kind. When I say he's kind, I refer to those who think it's acceptable to publicly destroy someone's reputation, character, and pull strings to keep certain people in state-funded positions. Are we to believe our heroes of 1960 and again in 1981 and through the years, let's be honest about, sacrificed what they did to protect the abuse of power that has been awarded and the influence that's been abused by certain members of the Sinn Féin party now? I 100% don't believe this. Before someone says, oh my god, he's starting on the entire party, I'm not. Those that have genuine political interest and respect our history would have no part in this. Unfortunately, we know Sinn Féin as a party has a number of members quite happy to use the stigma to threaten, harass and engage in many other illegal activities. So much so I don't even need to speak their names or what it's about, as we all know what I'm speaking of. To be honest, I have no interest in any criminal behaviour of any group, intimidation, drug dealing, etc. I keep myself to myself. People will say I should have some kind of concern morally, as it would be the right thing to do. I genuinely don't care one way or the other what the next person does, if I'm being honest with you. I keep myself to myself. But to have some of these people preaching fucking morality to me or anyone else in Waterford, it's almost like Hitler, like giving a speech on fucking world peace. It's that hypocritical. And this is not me promoting Hitler in any way, I'm just using it as an analogy. I won't, as I've said before, be bullied by any group, whether it's political, Garda, Waterford Council, or these so-called patriots, who we all know are more interested in telling people of the threatening group they are a part of, rather than read a fucking history book. These same people are left to sell drugs, while certain people pretend not to see or have knowledge of what's going on right under their noses. Clearly I'm not mincing my words. And as serious as this is, people know very well what I'm saying, who I'm saying it about. And while they might whisper about it, I won't whisper about it, I'll say it like it is. I wanted to keep Sinn Féin out of this. My issue was with just a few. It has been decided by those at the top to support who I am talking about and increase my social exclusion and shunning, which, as explained, was originally put together by an employee of Tussle. As crazy as this sounds, this could have been investigated, me disproven, and me held accountable. But many got involved by spreading the poison my ex passed out. And when it was realised that they stuck their nose in prematurely in somewhere they shouldn't have, it was too late, as their true colours had been shown. I would at one point in my life would have been well read on Irish history, and I would have leaned towards Sinn Féin in all honesty. The Sinn Féin of old, the new Sinn Féin and the old Sinn Féin, in my opinion, are worlds apart. I'm sad to say. Quite happy to look the other way as long as their public image is protected at all costs. This ongoing saga is a perfect example of this. We can go up and down the country and combine the gaslighting and intimidation of those who dare to speak negatively regarding anything. This is a tactic that has been adopted by those who don't want to hear the truth. Sorry. Look at the actions and ensuing desperation to keep me quiet and the resultant social shunning of me, pushed more aggressively the past 2 or 3 weeks by Sinn Féin to protect the likes of David Cullinane and co. And why is there no interest to actually hear what I have to say? What am I potentially going to say, or what am I saying that would warrant my wife and my daughter being targeted? I will call this out. We don't have Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil or any other parties act in the manner as Sinn Féin does. I'll be deemed troublesome for daring to stand my ground and have a voice. God forbid, rather than have any of this investigated and the truth come out. Is there members of Sinn Féin engaging in certain acts that may increase their votes when it comes to needing them? Yes. Are these acts that Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, other parties that don't abide by? Yes. This is something I would have stayed out of, but I won't stand by in silence and watch what's supported by Sinn Féin that endangers my family. Some of the actions of some of the members they chose to support would not be supported by any other political party. Sinn Féin should be ashamed of themselves for supporting this crowd. Surely some votes come at a cost that undermines the whole fucking party. Has members of Sinn Féin had a hand in this? Yes. Have all members of Sinn Féin had a hand in this? No. It's now taken on a whole new level over the last few weeks, and I'm expected to be silent. Principle far outweighs any fear, in my opinion. In 2022, if I have to feel threatened because of my willingness to say the truth, then so be it. Suppose democracy, where you're supposed to tiptoe around what you have to say, regardless whether or not it's the truth, because so many have jumped on the gravy train, or should I say actually the Davy train at this stage. And the public image comes above all else. If you're being suppressed, oppressed into saying, not saying, having your voice not heard, this is the kind of stuff that goes on in North Korea. Every person should be entitled to have a voice and stand their ground. I see the efforts to suppress this has gone into overdrive. Judging by the efforts to keep people to stop them from sharing what I have to say or spreading what I have to say, why would people be so desperate to try and keep a lid on what I have to say? What is it? What's the potential of what I have to say that's so dangerous that is after resulting in this kind of, how would you say it, endangerment upon me and my family? I expected this to happen much earlier, but as I said, it coincides with lots of events which happened over the last 2 or 3 weeks. My wife and daughter being in danger being the main one that sticks out. If people are that desperate, maybe a full, transparent public inquiry is needed rather than a meal down the Tower Hotel. I believe these people should be called out, regardless of what party they hide behind. Sinn Féin has got to a point, and covering for these people is counterproductive. The expectation of me and my family being harassed into suppression is a stain on any kind of democracy. I'm supposed to follow the same protocol and procedure that some of these clowns corrupt, edit and basically walk and piss all over. I've always said I had no issue with Sinn Féin or any party. I purposely went out of my way to distance Sinn Féin from the actions of Mr. Cullinane. I have an issue with members abusing the power and the social network of the party for their own benefits, and those within the party should have an issue with the people involved who added this negativity to their party, not the people who are willing to say it like it is and speak the truth. I judge by the reluctance of people to share my stuff that the pressure that's being circulated is immense. So I don't hold any grudges against anyone who don't share my stuff. But I would suggest you should probably you should push for an open inquiry regarding all of this rather than keep it hidden. If I have to feel threatened over speaking about this, or if it needs to be spread by those involved, don't pay attention or share anything he says or alleges. We all stick together attitude to suppress and more or less endanger or intimidate this person or his family. This is not more than criminality. If Sinn Féin as a party has an issue with me outing the actions of a small section of their members, then so be it. They should be more focused on the negativity that these people have brought to their organisation rather than me. I'm only speaking the truth. They're covering up the truth. It's unfortunate that the party actually had a chance to show the rest of the country this clan mentality and cronyism they were all too quick to allege was being used and abused by other political parties is something they don't roll with. They would have defined themselves from other parties. This is not about some stupid bravado thing. This is about me and my right to have a voice in a situation that is so corrupt and has destroyed so many lives and tore families apart. This all needs out publicly. I'd like to think it would have been done to uphold my human rights, but that's long since past, if I'm being honest with you. But it should be done so that this can't be done again. This is why you should really be publicly and openly investigate. But to do this, the first step would be acknowledging the wrong of so many groups and the corruption of so many people, which would rock the early system. I wrote to the courts of the European Union regarding Article 8, as my human rights have been abused and my right to have an unbiased, unimpeded investigation has not been followed and has been repeatedly infringed upon by those in place to uphold these rights. Cronyism playing a huge part in this. The assistance of any politician in supporting what I'm about to speak about, the public needs to know. I've alleged some serious stuff in my videos, none of it investigated. I've offered documentation even to prove what I was saying is true, and I still wasn't investigated. I was quiet for a while as I was doing some research online to see what I could find, and what I'm about to say here, a lot of this can be found online. We all know of a person who intervened in my mother's funeral arrangements, and the Catholic Church, being the Catholic Church, as always, protects this person in which he hides behind. As always, the Catholic Church siding with political influence rather than doing what's right. We have a person locally with allegations of historic sexual abuse claims against him, some reported, some not, by different people, as some are feeling threatened watching all this drama unfold. To be honest, I probably wouldn't blame him. I myself grew up not too far from this person, and I can tell you many stories. I've been confided in many stories, and it's about time this came out. Before I start, I ask anyone to find me a state-funded charity that has such rampant nepotism that's running through it. Let's call a spade a spade. The nepotism. And we all know which charity I'm talking about in Waterford. The nepotism that's rife in this charity is a danger to democracy. It infringes on any meritocracy being, you all know what meritocracy is basically. It's when someone earns the right to be promoted or get a job. Nepotism is when jobs are given out to family members basically. The nepotism that's rife in this charity is a danger to democracy. It infringes on the meritocracy, that's the deserved promotion or awarding of jobs through earnment and not some entitlement because they may have a relative or relatives in the same establishment. This is one reason nepotism should be stamped out. Another would say, hypothetical, if an allegation of some form of unethical practices, financial corruption, sexual abuse, etc., I'm speaking hypothetically here, can it be truly trusted that the correct protocols would be followed if the alleged perpetrator has so many family members in the same establishment? This is what nepotism leads to. I want to speak briefly on this. I have been doing some research, as I said. Most of this is actually stated online. Certain charities we all know was founded by one member of this family. Even this had to be spun into a lie. That charity was co-founded. It wasn't founded by this person, it was co-founded. I've explained how I worked up there for quite some time with the building company, and I've explained how a worker would spend most of his days pursuing a member, a young girl, being very touchy freely. This man was in his 40s. I believe we started to call him, myself and some of the workers that were up there, we actually started to call him the Tiddler. That's a kind of reference to the Riddler of Batman, that he spent so much time chasing this girl and tiddling her, and it was all very weird and strange. I've always said I am open to talk about any of this with anyone, and I could probably give a name or two of some of my workers who witnessed this. He would also often bring this girl to the shop when he had to leave or do anything in the company van. This girl would always be chosen. The girl, as I said, was not a worker up there. She was a member of the charity, which is a children's charity, let's just put it that way. Not too long after this man and this girl, who he knew from when she was a child in the charity, they became involved in a relationship. Am I the only person that finds this unethical, at the very least, if not even an argument for grooming? There was another two family members employed there also at this time, on and off. I believe even more. And after reading what I've read online, there's actually even been more. So like, the nepotism going on up in that place is really needs investigating. It's a state-funded charity. There's no way in the world that you could have that many family members working up there. This is a state-funded charity, and they blame the total disregard to meritocracy and people deserving of the jobs, as family members are clearly chosen above all else up there. This can all be checked online, as I just said. You can go back and read. Now, if one person has historic allegations, say, say they were somewhat related to this family, and these allegations were made against them, surely with so many family members working in the same establishment, an argument for conflict of interest could be made. Because obviously, any investigation would be kind of more or less covered up or strings pulled, let's just put it that way. And that's why the nepotism on that charity needs to be once and for all called out. And as I said, a lot of this is actually online. You can go and check it right now. It's online. Now this said person is owed some kind of a favour from a local TD, who also has another agenda to assist this person and his family. Should this be allowed to happen? If so, what kind of a message does this send out to people who are thinking of coming forward? Should something like this be scrutinised because of the seriousness, or should it be ignored and swept under the carpet, which is what's basically happening? The unethical practices in this said charity is something else. Then the changing of the name of the charity can be deemed as highly disrespectful to any victims wanting or thinking of coming forward. As many knows and Waterford, this is a long time coming out, and it's on the verge of coming out. And all I would say is, You should probably go to a solicitor out of town, is all I'm going to say, and then approach the guards. Unbelievably, the person I spoke of getting into a relationship with a past member who was a child in this charity, now being touted as the CEO of this charity. Are you kidding me? Like, the unethical incident should have been investigated, but like the other incidents which has been reported, because we can't name names, it was watched on by other employees, also related. All of this was watched on by other employees. Some of them, as I said, are related to these people. So the nepotism and kind of favoritism that has gone on up there really needs to be investigated. The group of family members, because of family political connections in the past, the group of family members, because of family political connections in the past and the present, get so much stuff buried. This is along the group of family members, because of political connections in the present and in the past, have so many strings pulled up in this place. And as I said, the nepotism, like all of this is online, and this clearly needs to be investigated. So I have an issue with a TD who insists covering this up. My mother's funeral being interfered with, so this person can hide. My mother's funeral being interfered with, so this person can hide. He's passing back a private email that I wrote to a priest, which he printed out and then he passed it back to Mr. David Conlan. Disrespectful is beyond words. I've called out Mr. Conlan on this and much more. I made it a point to say my issue was with him and a few of his cronies. In my opinion, he should step down. He won't, as we all know. I believe Sinn Féin as a party should have stepped up and reprimanded him and pushed for his removal. Alas though, when it comes to dealing with negativity, Sinn Féin either resorts to either gaslighting the person or the old-fashioned intimidation tactics, which they apparently distanced themselves from, kind of. And we're all supposed to tiptoe around this. I'm past taking shit from these corrupt clowns, desperate to keep their actions hidden. I've been transparent when nothing but corruption is around me. It's my right to call out Sinn Féin. Do they condone Mr. Conlan's actions? Clearly they do by supporting him. Do the other parties condone the actions of Sinn Féin? So I'm well within my right to say it like it is and speak about what strings were pulled and why it's an issue that needs public, transparent attention, not underhand whisper campaigns conducted in the guise of a political meal. I'm only too aware this won't go down well. Realistically, those who will view my video are those that are concerned about what I have to say. I don't expect any support from anyone in Waterford, so the belief that this will stop me talking about this is very misplaced. I'd rather try and fail than to be so fake to talk about things and not have the balls to pursue them. This is directed at a journalist who was looking into this, and he was pressurised by a political group and some people, and he backed out of it, basically. Like, why go to college for all those years and learn your craft and then feel threatened or pressurised into like dropping a story? When my wife and child and myself were almost pushed off the cliff there 2 or 3 weeks ago, down the back roads of Tramore, that was the final straw for me. So I've decided to push back. Am I to believe now that this is what Sinn Féin are a part of? I will again write to Miss MacDonald and I will explain all of this, basically. It'll probably be another long written letter, being honest with you. But I'll explain it, the whole lot of it. And if Sinn Féin wants to further support Mr. David Conlan and his cronies, well, so be it. There's very little I can do about that. But I will say it how it is. My life was used as an experiment by a representative of Tusla I've spoken about this in previous videos, so I won't go back over it again. The stuff that I've spoken about in the videos, I couldn't have made this up. The sexual slander that was spread and by who actually supported what I allege. But again, no effort to retrace the steps and go back to the start. Instead, they try and bury what was done while preaching us morality, which is laughable. This went tits up when I faced all the slander and humiliation, defamation and intimidation. Then other parties were lured in to try and get rid of me and to keep all this quiet. Not all, but some of them took it upon themselves to get involved to garner votes and to try and flex their political influence. Now we have the rotten remains of this mess, which many are worried about, as it kind of might impede on their pensions or their reputations. Now we have the rotten remains of this mess, which many are worried about because it may affect their pensions or their reputations, and like the negativity that has been brought to the Sinn Féin party was originally brought on by Mr. Connan and his cronies. And because I'm willing now basically to say like it is, like it's not like I'm lying, I'm telling the truth. Like, do you know what I mean? Should a political party be covering up this kind of stuff, like that stuff that's going on in that charity? We have a politician pull the strings, assist in this. Like, this should all be called out and investigated. What I say is the truth, and it needs to be investigated at all costs. Hence, the big guns now have been called out in an effort to support Mr. Conlan. I will proceed with this. Hopefully, Sinn Féin will learn from the actions of Mr. Conlan and not get further involved, as it only gets messier from here on in. Whoever protects anyone in this, I will call out. As I've always said, I don't have an issue with any party. I equally won't be bullied by any person or party. And any person with political connections that abuse their power to protect what I've just spoken about should be called out. To have political power and influence used in the manner that it's been used to, like, is bordering on criminality. People wanting to come forward about a certain individual should go to a solicitor out of town, if I'm being honest with you. First to be cautious, and then maybe go to the garage to the solicitor. As many local solicitors tend to share information, unfortunately, which I found out. I've had one or two people confide situations to me, and I just want to say I won't break anyone's confidence, and anyone that has told me anything, like I promised them I won't say anything, and I won't. So any people that are thinking of coming forward regarding any of the situation that went on that charity, they shouldn't feel threatened, regardless of any political connections. Go to a solicitor out of town, and go from the solicitor, go to the garage. Hopefully the punishment this time will be a little bit more serious than to stay away from the charity. I would have thought it should be established which employees were on watch and had this person on the grounds also before they got promoted. So I intend to write to Miss MacDonald. I'm going to explain the whole lot of this ugly mess again, and how it's in the interest of those few members who dragged Sinn Féin into this mess to further create hype around me supposedly attacking the party, which is not the case. As they've now supported Mr. Cunnan, I have no choice but to say it like it is. I find Sinn Féin supporting Mr. Cunnan and his cronies extremely distasteful. Am I surprised by it though? No, I'm not. I understand Miss MacDonald will be fed a one-sided chain of events that condones their actions. They're not going to say that there was a campaign begun against myself, and how I was used as an experiment by someone in Tussle, and how, like, when the truth finally started to come out, people realised, like, they prematurely jumped the fucking gun, and basically in doing so they showed basically their own true colours, being honest with you. And they're not going to mention like how my family was intimidated and like picked on, and my extended family were chosen and picked on, and like, because this is basically what happened. It's not really about me anymore, it's about my extended fucking family, who are like easy targets for these people. I simply believe I have the right to call out those involved. If I am being threatened into not speaking the truth, this is nothing more than criminality. If I am defaming anyone or lying, I am always open to any repercussions, as I've always said. And to think that this was all began by one person's eagerness to spread our Baha'i religion, and this person hides in a nice cosy house out in Tramore, employed by Waterford Tussle, when her and the solicitor that's involved should have their actions exposed as an example to other people, and they should be sacked. You won't see this person down helping the addicts or the homeless for Christmas, I can tell you that. Any response, I will update honestly. I've tried to stay calm, not use too much bad language. Obviously, the odd little bit got through, as always. People will see I've stopped uploading onto my www.johnhealyhavingavoice.com. There was a takeover in the company. Another company bought it out, so there's just a minor blip for a few weeks. I will be lobbying and campaigning as many journalists as I can, as usual, and I will update what the European Union's response is. I never got a reply from the Justice Minister Helen McEntee regarding the slander which was uploaded online. I'm still awaiting contact regarding the glorified attempted murder by pushing myself, my wife and my child off the back roads of Tranmore. The sergeant in Tranmore was aware of this. You see, I posted a letter there a day or two ago. And I'm still waiting to make this statement about that. I don't know why they're dragging their heels. I finally appeal the solicitor's actions. I keep that updated as well. So, I'm sure what I just said shows how serious this is. If those in Sinn Féin find what I say to be adding negativity to the party, supporting those that has a hand in supporting what I've just said should be the real issue. It's the people I'm talking about who has dragged negativity to the Sinn Féin party, and because I'm expected to fucking bow down and feel threatened because these people get to hide behind the party. So Sinn Féin, step up and do what's right. Or will I be further threatened and basically be gaslit? But as I said, I'll update my videos and I'll keep going, and if no one likes or shares my videos, I don't really mind and I don't care. But don't offer to share my videos if you happen to board to share my videos, because it doesn't bother me if you don't. It bothers me if you offer and then you don't. So that was a long one, so we'll leave it there for now. As you can see, I've spoken about things which are pretty fucking serious. But if you go back to all my videos, I've spoken about some very serious stuff, and none of it has been investigated. And why do you think none of that has been investigated? You know what I mean? Like, I could be lying. If I was lying, you'd be able to hold me accountable. You'd be able to drag me through the courts. Is this not what you want? To try and shut me up? So why don't you want to go through the courts? Why won't you give me a platform in the courtroom? And for those people in Sinn Féin, I don't have an issue with your party, but if your party is going to support like David Connan and his cronies, and how they stuck their nose into my business, and how my family is now endangered after being fucking harassed for so long, I will call you out. And I will let you know, because I intend to write to the other parties as well, because I want to know if they condone the actions of Sinn Féin, and I want to know if Sinn Féin condones the actions of David Connan and his cronies, which I've outlined multiple times. I think I've written 2 or 3 times already to Miss MacDonald, and I'll update any further correspondence. I'll leave it there for now. So thanks very much.